think we are online. Yep.
Yay.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Academy of Astrology UK. I'm Rhoda Chang, and today with me is Marcus and Mandy.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. So, yes. So, I mean, today, well, it's quite a lot of things we're going to talk about, but it's should be very, very interesting, I think, because the first things we're going to talk about is the nodal axis going to change in sign on the 18th of January. And I usually, it was interesting. I usually don't really want to draw the chart, especially this nodal axis. It's just nodal axis. It's not a planet. It's not anything. So it's like, it's a point moving the sign. And today, I just don't know why I just draw the chart. And I said, oh, no wonder I want to draw the chart. I will show you later.
Excellent. Oh, that's exciting.
I'll really show you that. And then after the nodal axis, we talk about nodal axis, we will move to the Aquarius season because Sun's going to move to Aquarius. So let's come back to the first nodal axis. So who wants to start?
Don't mind. I mean, I suppose we should explain what the nodes are briefly. I mean, I'm sure most of our audience.
Okay, let's start with what node is. Yes,
some people won't. So the nodes are basically, put simply, they're the eclipse points. They're the places where eclipses happen. So if you want, in astronomical terms, it's where the orbit of the plane of the moon's orbit around the Earth intersects with the plane of the Earth's orbit around the sun. So you've got two nodes. You've got one that we call the ascending node, also known as the North Node, also known in Vedic astrology as Rahu. And then you've got exactly opposite it in the zodiac. They're always exactly opposite each other. They're always 180 degrees apart. You've got the south node or the descending node, or Ketu in Vedic. And so they operate as a pair, and basically the eclipse points move around the zodiac in a clockwise direction, so in the opposite direction to all the other planets, which are moving in an anti-clockwise direction from when you look at a chart. So they take, I think, I can't remember what the synodic cycle is. Is it 19 years or?
Yes, around like 19 something. Yes,
19 something, 19 and change. Yeah. Something like that. So basically
about 18 months in each in each sort of sign.
Right. It? Okay. Yeah. I couldn't. Thank you, Mandy. I couldn't remember off the top of my head, but so basically that's what we're talking about. They're going to switch signs. So they have been in the North Node, which is called the ascending node, or Rahu. And in Western astrology, it's associated with expansion or growth. Has been in Gemini for the past couple of year and a half. And the South Node has been in Sagittarius. So that's really interesting because Gemini is the sign associated with communication, particularly communications technology, but also communication in general. North Node expands things. The South Node is in Sagittarius, which the Sagittarius Gemini axis is generally associated with thought, but Gemini is small thought, like communications and technology. And Sagittarius is big thought, like belief and religion and long distance travel. So the South Node has been shrinking long distance travel and religious institutions and educational institutions and all things to do with big think for the past 1.5 years, and global stuff has been shrinking. And the Gemini side, which is all about communications technology, interpersonal sort of stuff, has been expanding. So that's really interesting. And just a final thought, but I'll hand it over to you guys, because obviously we're going to talk about what the signs they're going to be changing into and what that's going to mean. It occurs to me that we often say that when a planet enters and leaves a sign, it tends to give you a gift just as it does that. And I don't know if the same applies to the nodes, but I can tell you, because I'm a Scorpio rising, Sagittarius is my second sign. Okay. Which rules in my chart money. With the South Node about to leave the sign, I mean, Mars is in there too. I've just been hit this week with a whopping tax bill. I've had a sore throat, and then 2 days later, my motorcycle insurance company went into administration, voided the rest of my insurance this year, and I had to buy a new insurance policy. So I basically had a week that cost me in total just under £2,500. And a very expensive week and a sore throat, which is all very pertains very much to the south node being assigned. It takes things out, and of course the tax man got a big bonus, which is the north node going into the into the opposite house.
I shouldn't laugh.
No, but it is fun. I mean, the thing about astrology is that you see these cycles and you know that the wheel keeps turning. So when this stuff happens, you have a moment of, oh bloody hell, and then you're like, it's cool, it's just this thing doing its thing, and then it's going to move on, and then it's going to be something else. So whatever. Okay,
Mandy, how about you explain a little bit moon node and where it toured to?
Sorry?
Where it's moving to.
Yeah, sure. So the north node has moved into Taurus, which means inevitably that the south node is now in the opposite sign to Taurus, which is Scorpio. And as Marcus sort of said, some of the themes that sort of, one of the other themes that you touched on, Marcus, is that the north node can be about what you ingest, what you take in, what you go towards. And Taurus is very much about building and maintaining. It's about resources, security, values, assets, money, control. It's an emotional sign, but it's also an earth sign, so it's very much on the material plane. So these are some sort of themes to sort of explore, I guess, with the north node in Taurus. And then the south node can be about what you need to release, what you need to purge, which is really interesting, because there is something thematically about Scorpio that is about releasing and purging as well. So there's kind of quite a nice kind of, it's kind of, but potentially Marcus will maybe be able to tell us if the north nodes have sort of have sort of dignities, traditional dignities.
No, they don't, but I was just thinking exactly the same thing, Mandy, actually, just about how they're like, there does seem to be this weird syllogism or correspondence between because Katie is the dragon's tail, literally the bum end, which excretes. And the function of Scorpio is to do that, is to release, is to excrete. And exactly as you said, Mandy, and Taurus is of course often associated with ingestion and taking in and gathering, which is very much a north node
Taurus
and holding as well. Taurus holds, doesn't it? Taurus doesn't like to let go, and Scorpio in some respects doesn't like to let go as well. But it's almost like but there's sometimes often a destructive quality about Scorpio, but perhaps in a cleansing way, sort of like a karmic irrigation of the zodiac kind of thing.
I always think Scorpio and Aquarius are the two paradoxical signs of the zodiac. Inherently paradoxical, because you have the nature of the ruler is opposite to the nature of the sign. In both cases, exactly opposite. So very, very much that. So Scorpio fixed sign doesn't want to let go, but its function is to purge. But if you think about that from a medical astrology point of view, the function of Scorpio, it rules the genitals and the womb, but also the bowel and the bladder. So the organs of generation and elimination. So it has something of both of those functions, and its function of elimination is like, if you think about this, is very crude. Sorry about it, TMI possibly, but
that's all right.
The digestive function is to collect waste, and then you suddenly get an urge. Oh, I need to go to the toilet, and then you have to go to the toilet. Depending, I mean, hopefully not that suddenly, otherwise you have a medical problem. But just generally speaking, that's how Scorpio functions. It fills up with whatever it's absorbing, and then it gets rid of it.
And I guess Taurus. Sorry, Marcus.
No, go for it.
I was going to say Taurus can sort of cling. If we're talking metaphorically about clinging onto sort of waste or whatever, or clinging on, you no longer need. I'm talking metaphorically, not just about physically as well. Taurus, I guess, needs its opposite sign of Scorpio, where you can see the nodes working.
I think that polarity thing is really, really interesting.
Exactly. Another thing that I like to think about the North Node and South Node, that both I would take both of them together, because it's like I say the moon orbit meets the sun orbit, or we say the Earth orbit towards around the sun, orbit the sun. Then it's a joint point. Two orbit meet together. It's just like a crossroad. I think Mandy very familiar with this notion. So the two things meet each other. So it's like we are going to the crossroad to meet people. And usually I like this idea is about the, I will take what nodal axes point to, either sign, either planet, as what people or I think like a public will focus on, will notice on. I have this kind of idea about like every time when especially outer planet going to, I think they conjunct with node, either south node or north node. Usually I think people will sense it, either like a conjunct with Saturn, and the people will feel like a Saturnian flavor. So the following, when it moved to Taurus, then the first thing will hit Uranus.
That's the thing, isn't it? That's what's going to be interesting, because the north node expands things. So Uranus is
like giving shaking, and they give us people are shaking like, oh my god, and
Uranus
also
go on.
And also the focus is changing. I think, like you say, before we were in the North Node and South Node was in the Gemini and the Sagittarius. So we are about the discussion, knowledge, and the belief and the religion, the big picture, and how we express things are. But now it's shifted to Taurus and Scorpio, and that for me that's the flavor about Taurus about food, money, possession, and the money you have. And the Scorpio is about things, about crises, about the things we're going to get rid of or something. There is like life and death flavor there. I don't want to say it's totally life and death, but there is something we think about survival, how we get food, how we hold things, and how we face the crisis, how we handle the crisis. So for me, there's another feeling about it more intense. I don't know.
On a mundane level, Taurus is associated with farming and agriculture and food production. And also with the node, when the nodes hit a planet, you tend to meet things that strongly represent that planet. So you'll be, as a society, but also individuals, depending on our charts, will be meeting Uranus in typically perhaps surprising, shocking ways.
Could I just remind anyone watching this that Mandy did a video on Uranus in Taurus, which you should, if you don't know what Uranus in Taurus is about, please go and watch it. It's really
amazing.
Good. It's on our channel, in our playlist. It's called Uranus
that's
in
what
Taurus
I want to share to you, because as we start the video, I talking about I usually don't want to draw the chart. I don't know why today something wrong. This morning I want to draw the chart and I see, okay, that's why. If we use London as the location to draw the chart, the moment nodal axis move into Taurus, you can see 29 Taurus 59, because it go backwards. You will see here is MC, 12-degree Taurus, and we got our dear friend Uranus, right conjunct MC. I mean, this really fits into the current news in UK. The ruling class and the royal family. Kind of a shocking news there, and kind of so I just feel like this is quite interesting. I want to show you this.
It is interesting, isn't it? And we've got the moon applying to that opposition of Mercury and Saturn squaring Uranus there. So there's something that the public, it's going to be disturbing to the public as well. I have to say, I hadn't looked at this chart. That I hate it. The ascendant is right on my Saturn, and the MCIC is right on my ascendant descendant axis, like literally to the degree.
Something interesting.
No, I'm so sorry, because when I see that Uranus conjunct MC, I say I have to show you this chart.
No, it's great. It's interesting to see what will happen mundanely if
what's
this...
interesting in the UK is that we've just talked about we're going into North Node Taurus season from Gemini, where we've had 18 months of the North Node in Gemini. If we are looking predominantly at the UK, obviously a lot of our viewers aren't UK based, but in the UK at the moment, our Prime Minister of the UK is Boris Johnson. He's very Gemini, and it's the last 18 months he's been presiding over with some wins and some failures, like every country has over the pandemic over the last 18 months or so. And now that Gemini nodal season is over, and suddenly there are calls for his resignation. How far that goes, we don't know.
Well,
but what's interesting to me as well is that Uranus is still in that square with Saturn in Aquarius, and Saturn's about the rules, and Aquarius is about the common people. And there's a lot of news stories, not just about Boris Johnson. The reason why I'm calling for resignation is because it's emerged that while people people were dying and couldn't have funerals for their loved ones, couldn't be together or hug people, or strict lockdowns, allegedly they were having like loads of parties at number 10 Downing Street, which is the abode of the Prime Minister. And then of course, and a lot of the talk is about, well, it's one rule for the authorities and one rule for everybody else, then, is it? Right. And that's very much sort of Saturn in Aquarius. Uranus, that kind of thematically speaking. But there's other sort of news stories in the same that kind of echo that. Novak Djokovic, the number one tennis star in the world, is they're trying to throw him out of Australia because he hasn't, he doesn't fit the criteria for a visa because he's not vaccinated against COVID-19. And again, people are saying, it's one rule for why should it be one rule for him and another rule for other people? And there's also stuff going on with the British royal family as well that sort of echoes those things. So it's interesting.
It is interesting, Matt. I wonder whether those stories, that they're very reflective. I totally agree with of the Saturn Uranus square theme 100%. I wonder, part of me wonders if some of those stories, particularly the Djokovic one, are like the parting gift of the nodes in Gemini Sag. Do you know what I mean? And then as the nodes shift, well, because the other thing I just wanted, I nearly butt in, but I managed to shut myself up when you were talking about is of course Boris has a Scorpio moon, doesn't he? So this south node going into, it's going to shift from having the north node in the same sign as his sun and his Venus, expanding the sun and Venus, his fame, his success, his going onto the south node, shrinking his already rather beleaguered, upset Scorpio moon. Do you know what I mean? Because I enjoy being in Scorpio on the whole.
And I think he has a Jupiter on 15-degree Taurus. So this year the Uranus will move. 15.
That's not so bad for him then, in a sense. I mean, the thing about Boris is he's a bit like our version of, I mean, they're very different people, but our version of Donald Trump in a sense, because they're both Geminis. I mean, apart from the fact they're both Geminis and blonde, they both seem to have have anti-climb paint sort of coating them, so that anything that's thrown at them doesn't stick to a degree. But eventually, if enough crap is thrown at a wall, it will stick, because
hope so.
Well, we'll see. But I mean, it's the same with Trump in the end. If you can only get away with so much. Really.
So what we just talked about is the nodal axis move into Taurus and the Scorpio. So we will focus on this, and I think the climate, the wind will change, wind direction will change. What we're going to focus is changing, and especially if you have the planet around the either Taurus or Scorpio, maybe you will feel a little bit about you've been carried away. This dragon, this like a swallow things going to like devour you and take you away to things. Should we?
I have one final comment to
please.
say. Actually, it's interesting what you said, Marcus, about the parting gifts. I have have my south node is at 2 degrees of Sagittarius, and I'm wondering what my parting gift has been or might be.
Well, I mean, that it may not be. I mean, I know that often happens with planets when they enter and leave, because the nodes are basically astronomical points.
Yes.
And by the way, there's astronomically the calculation is not all astrologers calculate them exactly the same. There's true node and mean node, which I'm not going to get into, partly because I don't fully explain it. I always just use the true node, but it's that there's a few minutes of difference between them. So they're not physical points, but if just be aware of that. For any astrology people out there, just observe and see if there is my financial whatnottings this last week could also be explained by the Mars Neptune square we've had. So I've got Neptune at 17 degrees Sag, and I have Mars transiting my second house, which conjuncted Neptune this week, and while squaring Neptune in the sky. So that's kind of a similar vibe, right? So it may not be, you know, but it's like a triple whammy of stuff basically. So but we'll see.
Mine sits on my descendant, actually. It's conjunct my descendant. My south node in Sagittarius is conjunct my descendant.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that's interesting. There has been a new relationship in my life.
Oh, hello.
Yes.
These guys know what this is.
I know.
It's my new rescue cat. So and my new rescue, I took on a new rescue cat. So maybe cute. That's the parting gift, a gift to myself.
Maybe, but that seems more like the entry of the node into the sixth, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. Pets. A little bit of both.
Quite cute. We just saw it.
Anyway.
Okay. Our next topic. We should move to the next topic is the Aquarius season. So only, I think it's usually the 21st. Oh, no, 18. Sorry, it's 21st or 18. 18, I think, right? I'm a little bit lost now.
I think you said 18th before.
Yeah. Sun moving.
No. It is the 21st because it was the nodes that went moving.
Yeah. There's some moving into Aquarius. Sorry,
20th.
Today, so we just like a
20th.
20, right? 20. Okay. So some moving into Aquarius. This start Aquarius season. And so our focus will change to some is about awareness, some is about a focus. So that means, you know, the things in around the Aquarius theme, revolution, rebelling, changing, group, and the I think the maybe like social benefit, all sort of things will become our focus. So how about Monday? You start a little bit about this Aquarius season.
Sure, Aquarius season. So Aquarius is a sign that is ruled traditionally by Saturn, the same as Capricorn, and it is ruled modernly, if that's a word, modernly, by Uranus. We've already just talked about Uranus. For myself, not really a traditional astrologer. I do tend to use the traditional rulers. I think they make sense and why change things. But what does that say? What does that say about Aquarius? Well, Aquarius is a very independent sign. It's an air sign, so it's kind of like it's about ideas. Aquarius is known for having a humanitarian bent. It's about freedom and about equality. Aquarius is about we've talked already about the common people, Saturn in Aquarius at the moment. The idea of the common people and doing the idea at best, I think Aquarius is about doing things for the common good. I remember one of my first teachers, Sue Tompkins, a very famous astrologer, wrote Aspects in Astrology.
Oh, we kind of sorry, Mandy.
Did you lose me?
Yeah. Just for a second. You're saying Sue wrote Aspects in Astrology.
Yeah.
Aspects in Astrology, exactly. Brilliant book for any beginner astrologers, by the way, any beginner students, by the way. I still refer to it now, actually. I remember her saying that an Aquarian person would be like, you know, they'd be fighting for the team and fighting for the group, and they'd be like, you know, we're going to get this done for everyone's benefit. Not really fancy going to the pub to celebrate after it's all done, kind of thing. Is that kind I think contrariness is also a really interesting. Now, I'm a Capricorn sun, but I have Moon, Mars, Venus, and my MC all in Aquarius. So it's a sign that I absolutely love, and I think we have another Aquarian in the group too. Put your hand up if you want to be. Put your hand up if you're weird.
Oh yeah, hi.
And by the way, if you tell a true Aquarius that they're a bit weird, that's a compliment.
But yes,
I find.
Yeah. If you tell me I'm a weird, oh yeah. I think because I have both Sun in Aquarius and the Venus in Aquarius, so this totally changes things when people tell me I'm a weird. I say, tell me more about that. Yeah, but that when the sun move into Aquarius, we are literally more expecting, to see something different and to experience something different. But also this if sun is about the celebrity or leader, well, we're going to see something different. And especially when it moved into Aquarius, again, it was square Uranus.
Yeah, and conjunct Saturn. It's
going to
put a spotlight on Saturn. So, I mean, Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius. So it's kind of like this Aquarius season will definitely throw a spotlight on that Saturn-Uranus square.
Yeah,
but I think and maybe illuminate or power up the Saturn side a bit. So that kind of, which would be the authorities, the social distancing, the social rules in some way about social etiquette. That can go either way. That can be like conventional social rules, like official, or it can be like Sun in Aquarius social rules, which, well, these are my rules. Because that's like, because I was thinking of a Sun in Aquarius type, who is, I think, a Sun in Aquarius is Eddie Izzard.
Oh yeah,
Eddie Izzard, who's now come out as a trans person, transgender.
Yeah,
and he's such an Aquarius. I mean, he always just reminds me, because he's the Sun in Aquarius, though, because it's like it's such a paradox. But on the one hand, the Sun is like, look at me, but Aquarius is like, no, it's all about you. And like, whenever I think about it, I'm just like, that's so him. He's so like, it's this combination of its most intense and altruism. Like, blah, how does that work?
Yes.
That's an interesting example, actually, because one of the things for Aquarians is, if you tell an Aquarian they can't do something, that's exactly what they want to go and do. And I think and that intellectualism sometimes with Aquarius. I mean, one sign doesn't, your sun sign, for beginners, your sun sign, certain sun signs don't make you more intelligent and all of that kind of thing, but there's more that intellectualism can be with Aquarius. And I know Eddie Izzard, like, I think he just learned a language just so that he learned French so he could go to France and do his stand-up show or her stand-up show in French, and I think did 26 marathons in 26 days or something ridiculous like that.
I think probably proper pronouns now are they, but
they
I probably kept saying he, but because when I first went to see Eddie Izzard, it was in 1997 or 8, and still identifying as males or whatever. But yeah, no, that is such an interesting person, and all of that sort of stuff about the intellectual. What strikes me whenever I hear Eddie Izzard speak is how much they live in their head.
Yeah.
I mean, we all do.
And he is kind of quite brave to express his different idea. Even he is like with LGBTQ, but he still say, I have a different view. And look at that. Oh, it's kind of very Aquarian things like
always. Ever since I've that's what's. I mean, it's fascinating, really. So very very that. But I wonder in this Aquarius season, because we've got that. The Saturn and the Uranus and the Mercury retrograde also. Season. It's going to be really, because the Sun is about powerful people and people in positions of power and responsibility, and it's going to be, some of the stuff we've already been talking about, I imagine, will come to a head during that period.
Exactly. I think especially the current news all about this kind of should we obey the rule? Or who is above the rule?
Yeah.
Why there's one rule for them and the other rule for that. This is really Saturn Uranus talking. And
that's I was going to say that's another example of the potential contrariness of Aquarius. But we can all do what we want, but the rules apply, but some of us are more equal than others. I think that can sometimes be an Aquarian trait as well.
I think the reason...
It's a fascinating sign.
Yeah, it is. I think the reason, though, that... mind you, I was going to say, I think the reason that's because the sun is in detriment in Aquarius. But no, like I said earlier, Aquarius and Scorpio are the two most... what's the word, sort of oxymoronic, I can't think of the other word, but the most bi-directional signs that they don't make any sense, because the nature of the sign is opposite to the nature of the ruler. So Aquarius ruled by Saturn, very much about rules and structures and how we're supposed to do things, and then it's an air sign which is all like upbeat and social, and who cares about the rules? So it's like, and that I think is emphasized when the sun is in Aquarius, because the sun is in its detriment, and any planet in its detriment, the sun belongs in Leo, which is the sign of the king, the individual, like this is me, I don't have to apologize for anything, this is what I want, but I'm not going to announce it, I'm just going to do it, because why would I announce it? Whereas Aquarius is so painfully aware of what other people as needs are, and what they might be thinking, and what the rules could be around it, that it'll put all the focus on yourself. And so it's the sign that the thing that sun in Aquarius always makes me think of is that Sting or Sting, an Englishman in New York, I'm an alien, I'm a legal alien, you know, that line from the song. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like that feeling of, because the whole theme of that song is of being somewhere where you're among the people, but also apart from them and observing them. I'm an alien, I'm a legal alien. It's like that's what it makes me think of.
that pulls another aspect of Aquarius, which can be aloofness or kind of detachment.
It is, yes. It is. I think this is very interesting. So for for next months, we will experience this kind of sun in Aquarius, and especially it will trigger the Saturn Uranus square, and then whole things could be quite interesting. I don't want to use the word messy, but would be a little bit, because they are slow moving planet, and especially this moment I think the Uranus is stationary from today, so we will focus on all these kind of different things.
And I think the timing's really interesting of the node going into Taurus. It's nowhere near conjunction with Uranus, but it's going into the same sign. So the way I see this could play out is we're going to get a spotlight put on the rules and on what the social boundaries should be, and what people in power and authority are doing and saying, and they're going to be powered up. Those rules are going to be powered up. It's like, no, you need to obey the rules, you need to do these things, you need to do whatever. So the rules are going to be given more power, because that's what the sun does. At the same time, North Node moves into the sign where Uranus is. Are people going to be happy about that? No. So that's we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. So, well, I think it's about the time we will stick in it. I think it's about time about today's episode. I want to announce a little bit things about the next week. Next week is our first episode of the Wordscope. We're going to move it into Friday night. So it will be Tanya Daniels going to talk, and also we have a Fernanda Baiva going to talk about something quite interesting, because we haven't totally decided what topic we want to talk, because so many things. So but definitely there's something about the current affair we'll explain a little bit more, but there's something we want to bring it in, because we are talking about some interesting about the survival thingy.
It's a great series.
So
anyone who watches us hasn't checked out the Worldscope.
So next Friday we will have our Worldscope, and I have to say, I'm planning a lot of different topic at this moment. Also yesterday I have a record 3 episodes of a new educational things with Alejo. Yeah, so each episode is just 10 minutes, and it's quite fun. It's quite fun. So I'm really looking forward to start to release, to produce those video and then start to release them. So, well, looking forward and stay in tune. And next Friday, don't forget, is our first episode of World Scope. So we're going to talk about what happened around the world, and also we have different view from the Latin America, or also maybe the East Europe, or maybe Asia. Okay, stay in tune.
Those are some fantastic astrologers coming up, guys.
Yes, definitely.
Don't miss these new episodes.
Yeah. Okay. Cheers.
And we'll be back in a month. Is that right?
Oh yes.
This group.
Yes, this group is every first week.
First week of every month.
Yeah, first week every month. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.